It is a rich and a diverse repository of knowledge, including all these 18 Vidyas. We are calling techniques or knowledge. It has been developed and refined over thousands of years, as we discussed in the previous class, previous session, 3,000 to 5,000 years back. It encompasses a wide range of discipline, almost all the modern discipline, as well as what we are calling that Ashtadasa Vidyasthan. It includes philosophy, spirituality, science, technology, engineering, art, and those different 64 forms of arts and mathematics also. These 18 Vidyas are Ashtadasa Vidyasthanas. If you look into this slide, I hope it is visible to you. 18 Vidyas of ancient India. I mean Ashtadasa Vidyasthanas of ancient India. These Ashtadasa Vidyasthana, it refers to Chaturdasa plus another 4 traditional branches of knowledge. In the ancient Indian education, I mean 4 Vedas, 6 Vedanga, Itihasa Purana, Dharmashastra, Darshana, Nyaya. These are the 14 Vidyas of ancient India. 4 Veda, 6 Vedanga, 10. Itihasa Purana, 1. Dharmashastra, 2. Darshana, 3. Nyaya, 4. 10 plus 4, 14. We are calling Chaturdasa Vidyasthana. In addition to these four Upavedas, those are the Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, and Sthapatya Veda. If we add these 4 Upavedas, it will become 18 Vidyas of ancient India or Ashtadasa Vidyasthana. If you look into the 4 Veda, those are the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharveda. In the Indian knowledge system, in Sanskrit literature, these different Ashtadasa Vidyasthanas are classified into in this form. I hope it is visible to you. 6 orthodox heads and 4 secular heads. Before this, if you look into the Vedas, as under this 6 orthodox head, we are having different classification. Shruti, Smriti, as we discussed in the previous session. Smriti means, what are the things, we hearing. Shruti. Smriti means what we remembered. Similarly, Itihasa is there, Purana, Agama, Darshana, and Kalas. These are the different 6 orthodox heads. They are believing in Vedas. That's why we are calling orthodox. We'll discuss that orthodox and heterodox in the next, as we are having here in Darshanas also 6 orthodox and 6 heterodox here. Here, Vedas. If you look into the Vedas, are the oldest and most sacred text or scripts. It contains knowledge on spirituality, philosophy, and ritual practices. These Vedas, including 4 Veda and 4 Upaveda and Vedanga, these are the Smriti. These 4 Veda, Upanishadu, and Vedangas were compiled by Krishna, Lord Krishna, during Dwapara Yuga with the goal to come up with a de facto standard of. Hello? Hello? Hello. In the Indian history, we are who has compiled this, but it is we are undocumentized it. It is in Dwapara Yuga, Lord Krishna has visited various dynasty in the Dwapara Yuga. He has compiled and come up with a de facto standard of education. After compiling or gathering all the teaching passed on from a acharya, I mean teachers, to their shishya students from different dynasty in the ancient period, from kingdom to kingdom he has visited, and he has compiled them into four standard structure. Those four standard structures are, these are the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. See, these Veda are, we are, Veda Vyasa, somewhere we are studying Veda Vyasa, the date, these four Veda Vyasa has compiled. Somewhere it is we are studying. Hence, it is difficult to say when the earliest parts of Veda came into existence. If you look into these four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samveda, Atharva Veda. The four Vedas are collectively known as, we are calling Chaturva Veda, of which we are calling first is Rig Veda, Samaveda, and Yajur Veda. Even this Veda, the Veda means wisdom, what we are calling in Indian knowledge system. But Vedas is not only knowledge, but it is the wisdom. How to inculcate the knowledge which is there in the Vedas in our life. No, that's why Veda means wisdom, knowledge, or vision. No, that is our life vision, our nation vision, our family vision. Like, it manifests the language of the gods in human speech. That is the way of presenting the Veda. The laws of the Veda regulate the social, legal, domestic, and religious customs of the our Indians from ancient period to present day. What is the social, legal, domestic, and religious customs it regulates? No, through these advocates. These Vedas are all the obligations, are all obligatory duties of the Indians from birth to death. Between what are the different ceremony, whether it is the happiness or sorrow, whether it is the celebrations of birthday or marriage or death ceremonies also. Now, what are the rituals or obligations or obligatory duty we the Indians need to how to perform? Huh? It is the way of performing the things through Vedic ritual. Now, we are practicing knowingly or unknowingly. Those the things which we are drawn from the, these Vedas from generations to generations, or thinkers or, our ancestors, they used it to unknowingly. Now, that's why this Rig Veda, if you look into the Rig Veda, we are calling the book of mantra, the book of mantra. I will come to this point. Yeah. Okay. If you look into the Vedas, these are the four. Under Yajur Veda, we are classifying it to Krishna Yajur Veda and Shukla Yajur Veda. Similarly, four Upavedas, as I said, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda. Somewhere it is mentioned it as Artha Shastra, somewhere it is Tapatya, I mean architecture. Others are the Vedanga, six Vedangas. These are the, Shruti. If you look into the Vedas in broader sense, we are calling Vedas are Ananta, Anadi, Apurusha. Vedas are Ananta, Anadi, Apurusha. Ananta means infinite. Only an infinite seminal portion of it is revealed to humans. But huge amount of wisdom is hidden in the Vedas. This can be understood in the sense that knowledge is infinite. However, Vedas is the knowledge of Brahma, that is true, reality in nature, absolute and infinite. And the essence of Veda is said to be understood if one knows the infinite, that is, opens up to the infinite self. It is like a sky. Knowledge is like a sky. There is no limit for that. There is no limit for that. That's why Vedas are like that. It is a Ananta. There is no any finite. That's why we are calling infinite. Similarly, Anadi. Veda is having no beginning or end. I hope in the previous sessions we took certain slogans from the various sources of the literature. You know, we Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or similarly, Nishkama Karma, Anubhadro Kartu, like that various mantras we used. Means wherever we are starting, that is the starting. Where we are ending, that is the end. Like that, if you take a one sentence, that will give meaning. If you take a one sloka, that will give meaning. If you take a one chapter, that will give meaning. If you take a whole chapter, it will give enough meaning. That's why Veda is Anadi, having no beginning or end. Wherever we start, that is beginning. Wherever we stop, that is end. It is said to exist eternally. It is referred to as the breath of Paramatma. However, this is a poetic expression in the those Vedas. This does not literally mean Paramatma has a breathe, but just the way breathe exists with the person's life. Similarly, Veda exists with God creation. That's why we are calling it is the Anadi. Similarly, Apurusha, who has written this? No, none of the person has written this. None of the person is, authored or copyright. That's why Veda is Apurusha, not authored by humans. The seers are said to reveal Veda mantras to the world. They are called Drashta, Drashtanta. If you look into, as I said you at the beginning, we are believing that Lord Krishna has visited a different dynasty in the ancient period. He has collected, their Gurukula system, and each Guru teaching is a kind of Upanishad. They compiled and cut, classified into four different Veda related to a common structure, classification. Similarly, Vedangas are there, Rupa Vedas are also there. That's why none of the person has written. It is unauthored, but the things came from a certain persons. But the things has been revealed by the God or nature. That's why drashta. Vak exists in four forms, and the learned know of them. Three are hidden, and the fourth is what men speak. Now, what we are speaking, that is four, but the other remaining three are the hidden. The four forms are Para, Pashyantu, Madhyama, and Vaikhari. Para is the eternal form of Vak. Pashyantu is when a seer envisions the mantra, that is Pashyantu. Madhyama is when it descends into mind's plane, that is the Madhyama. Vaikhari is the expression. The Vedas, the Veda mantra exists eternally, They are only revealed to the world by the different teachers or seers or rishis in the ancient period. Right now also we are calling Acharya, Guru, teacher, facilitator, mentor. That's why we are not teaching anything new our own, but we are collecting from generations to generations it is coming. That's why we are calling 3000 to 5000 years back. The date back, goes back to that kind of history. That's why it is a Purusha we are calling. Similarly, as this four Veda, this Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and Samaveda, if you look into that, this is the holistic structure of four Veda. But no need to go with the thorough. But I just sensitizing you. We are calling this Rig Veda the book of mantra. It contains different shakas. 1 to 21 shaka. Under that, Karma Kanda is there, Upasana Kanda is there, Jnana Kanda is there. That's why this is the oldest and most sacred among the four Veda. This Rig Veda is the. It comprises different hymns, sutra. It contains different shaka, sutra, hymns, prayers, and philosophical discussions. This Rig Veda focuses on the nature of the universe and the God. Nature of the universe and God. That's why Rig Veda is a collection of inspired songs, or we are calling hymns, and is a main source of information on the Rigvedic civilization. During Rigvedic civilization, this is the main source of information. This is the oldest form of text in any Indo-European language. It contains the earliest form of all Sanskrit mantra, as in the ancient Gurukula system or in Vedic civilization. If you look into the date back, it goes to 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Even some scholars they suggested the Rigveda date as early as 12,000 years BC to 4000 year BC. That's why this Rigveda or Rigvedic Samhita, a collection of mantra consists of n number as listed here: Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Jnana Kanda. Under that mantra Samhita are hymns. This Rigveda Samhita, the oldest and the best used by the priest at priest Hotri. No? Similarly, if you look into the this Rigveda Samhita, it is the collection of mantra consists of 1017 hymns, or we are calling suktas. It covers about 10,600 stanza, divided into 8 astaka, each having 8 adhyaya or chapters, which are subdivided into various groups. Even these hymns are the work of many authors. Each hymns are work of many rishis, gurus of ancient Gurukula system. Those are called examples are rishis. Especially, I am quoting here a few that Rigvedic period primary rishis, that is Atri, Hotri, Kanva, Vasishta, Vishwamitra, Jamadagni, Gautama, and Bharadwaj. These are the main seers in the Rigvedic period. This Rigveda, it accounts in details about the social, as I begins with, social, religious, political, economic background of the Rigvedic civilization or Rigvedic culture. Even though monotheism characterizes some of the hymns of Rigveda, naturalistic polytheism or monism, it can be seen in the religion of the hymns of Rigveda. Similarly, this Yajurveda, we are calling a book of ritual. That is a book of mantra, but this is the book of ritual. It has been classified into Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. It deals with the ritual and sacrificial ceremony. It's also having, in the form of prose used by priest, different types of Satapata, Paitreyi, Maitrayini. It's also having Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Jnana Kanda. This Yajurveda basically it deals with the ritual, sacrifice, and ceremonial duty, how to perform that. It is divided into two main parts as Krishna and Shukla Yajurveda. It provides guidance on performing ritual, sacrificial, duties. Similarly, if you look into the who are the main teachers or seers or gurus, this Yajurveda, it is similar to ancient Egypt, the book of dead, what we are calling. That's why this is the book of ritual. There are no less than 6 complete renditions of this Yajurveda. Madhyandini is there, Kanva, Taitreyi, Kataka, Maitrayini, and Kapisthala. These are the great seers during this Yajurveda. Similarly, Samaveda, it's also having different shakas, around 1,000 shakas, are divided into Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Jnana Kanda. It comprises melodious and chants used in rituals. That's why we are calling this a book of song. One is book of mantra, book of ritual, and book of song. The Samaveda is the book of song. This Samaveda is purely liturgical collection of melodious. The hymns in the Samaveda used in musical notes. These were almost completely drawn from the Rigvedic scripture, have no distinctive lessons of their own. This, but it is important the things from the Rigveda. That's why it is text is reduced versions of the Rigveda. Even some foreign scholars studied this Rigveda, especially David Frawley, that is the one of the Vedic scholar of Western. They talks about this Rigveda is the word, Samaveda is the song or the meaning. If Rigveda is the knowledge, Samaveda is its, yeah. He said Rigveda is the word, Samaveda is the meaning. If Rigveda is the knowledge, Samaveda is its realization. If Rigveda is wife, the Samaveda is his husband or her husband. Like this, that Western Vedic scholar, he has compared with the relations between Rigveda and Samaveda. The fourth is Atharva Veda. Here also 14 shakas, 50 shakas is there. It is also divided into Karma Kanda, Upasana, and Jnana Kanda. It deals with magical charm. That's why we are calling this Atharva Veda the book of spell. One is book of mantra, book of ritual, book of song. This is the book of spelling. That's why it deals with spellings and incantation. It focuses on protection, healing, spiritual growth. It is considered a more practical and applied knowledge. That's why applied Veda. Here also believed that the humans did not compose this reward composition of these 4 Veda, which were handed down through generations by the word of mouth from time to time immemorial, as they said, 12,000 BC to 4,000 or 3,000 years to 5,000 years back. We practice. The general assumption is that the Vedic hymns were either taught by God to the sages or that they were revealed themselves to the sages, who were the seers. If you look into the present, recently we saw that Bijapur Jnana Yoga Ashrama Siddheshwara Swamiji, they are well versed with all Vedic, literature. He is aware of that about different Purana, Itihasa, Darshana, Nyaya, and Veda, Upavedas also. I mean, he was a great scholar of the 21st century in our countries, especially in our state. Now, that kind of how they lead the life, God has sent that kind of, seers to teach the human beings on the earth. But if you look into the other, Swamijis or Gurus or Seers or teachers, their life is different than the Siddheshwara Swami. I hope you are hearing my voice. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are you,
Yes.
are you
Yes, sir.
agreeing?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yes, sir.
Audible.
Yes, sir.
Are you agreeing with that? As we are talking about Veda, Vedas are not written by anyone. We are practicing. God is sending the message through gurus. I am quoting Siddheshwara Swamiji, how he has led his life, how he sent and gave the message to the society. Now, how he has passed what is the life, how to perform the, lead the life. That's why the four Vedas are considered apurusha. No one has created, no human created these, and are believed to be the divine origin. The form of, foundation of any philosophy, whether you are considered it as a human philosophy or Hindu philosophy, it is left to you. Now, philosophy, this is the way of life to practice, and spirituality, culture, and continue to be studied, to revered by millions of people around the world, not only we, the Indians. That's why this is the very, treasure of knowledge, treasure of wisdom, the Vedas, as we are calling Indian knowledge system with respect to Ashtadasa Vidyasthana. Here the details has given in the Rig Veda as we discussed here. It contains, different mandala, anusaka, sukta, mantra as, what is the part it is there. Similarly, Veda, as I said, if you look into the Upanishadu is there, here these are the things taken in the this Veda, the compilation, the gist. Similarly, Samaveda is there. Similarly, Atharva Veda is there. I hope it is visible to you. These are the different classifications in the. As we are telling the Upanishadu, we have a n number of Upanishadu in our India. Some are prominent, comes to our knowledge. Some are not aware of that. Somewhere it is documentized, somewhere it is not documentized, but we are practicing orally. That's why the Vedas are very important. Indian knowledge system of government of Indian knowledge to work on this to make aware what is the essence of knowledge in the world, where is the root for different knowledge in the world. It is there in our Indian knowledge system with respect to these all Ashtadasa Vidyasthana. One or the other discipline coming under this Ashtadasa Vidyasthana, whether it is four Veda or six Vedanga or Purana, Itihasa, Dharmashastra, Nyaya or four Upavedas. That's why these are the essence. If you look into the six Vedanga, that's why Vedanga, limbs of Vedas. No? These are the Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chandas, Niruktam, Jyotisha, Kalpa. These six Vedangas are branches of knowledge that are closely related to the Vedas. Suppose if we wish to understand the Veda, we need to learn the Vedanga to reach the Veda. That's why they are designed to help to understand and interpret the Vedic text. Once who know Vedanga, they can easily understand the Vedic text, whether those four Vedas. That's why this is Siksha. We are calling recitation. the knowledge of phonetic, how to pronounce, how to recite. For that, Panini has written that phonetics, how to pronounce the Vedic text. That Panini phonetic is there. That's why we are calling Shiksha. Another is Vakarna, grammar. That's also written by Panini. That is grammar. How to use grammar to understand Veda. Similarly, Chandas. This is pattern or meter dealing with prosody. In which tone, where it emerges in our body, the sound, Chandas. Meter dealing with prosody. It has written by Pingalacharya. As we are when we are pronouncing any words, where it is emerging. Right now, I hope most of the participants from Karnataka belongs to Kannada medium at the earlier their education. If you look into the English A, B, C, D to Z, that is A, B, C, D. There is no any in phonetics. If you belongs to English language or functional language or linguistic, might be aware. Similarly, if you look into our Kannada, that is I, E, Alakshadnya up to how they made grouping. Even in English also, they made consoles and you know another categories. So A, I, U and rest of the things. A, I, U and rest of the things. In Kannada, it is I, U, and like that. Then Ka, that is Ka, Ganga. Same Ganga. Cha, Cha, Ja, Ja, Ta, 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 Da, Da, Pa, Pa, Pam, Air, La. Now, where it emerges that it talks about that Chandas, meter dealing with the prosody. It has written by Pingalacharya how to pronounce the Vedic literature, that is Chandas, pattern. Similarly, Nirukta, tone, Vedic tone, that is phonology, etymology. It has written by Yaska, that is another Vedanga. Similarly, fifth one is Jyotisha, astrology, astronomy, by it's to the other things, Jyotisha, astronomy, astrology, astronomy, cosmologies. The sixth one is the Kalpa, ritual. When we are practicing Vedic, how to perform the ritual, Srauta, Grahya, Dharma, and Sulva. These are the Srota is there, Graha, then Dharma, then Sulva. With these four different rituals, how to perform by using those four Vedic scriptures. If you look into this slide, Kalpa is the method of ritual. Similarly, Srota Sutra, it explains the ritual of sacrifice. When we are performing any sacrificial ceremony, to use this Srota Sutra. Similarly, Grahya Sutra, a ritual in the domestic lives when we are, making the planning of house or making the foundation for the house. Bhumi Puja, we are called, or Graha Puja. In even when we are constructing home, different types of ritual, domestic rituals, Graha Sutra, we are performing. Begins with a good day for the mapping the land, then foundation, then first stone, then how to put the door, then like that different rituals we are performing domestic. That is Graha Sutras. Similarly, Dharma Sutra deals with ethics. Dharma Sutra, we need to perform our duty, how to perform. That is morality, ethics, values, customs, and laws. If you look into these things, how to do it is there. Then Sulabha Sutra, it treats the measurement necessary for laying out. No, it is related to Sulabha. We are with the precision. We are going with that anything. That is Sulabha Sutra. That's why this Kalpa, this different types of things there with respect to all four Veda, whether it is Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, or Atharva Veda. Here also different thing, how to perform or how to use this Vedanga to understand the those four Veda. That's why we are calling Vedanga literally means limbs of the Veda, limbs of the Veda. These are the known because without the Vedanga knowledge, the Veda would not be lost forever. That's why we need to study first Vedanga, then we need to proceed for the Veda. If you look into the Paniniya Shiksha, the Panini Shiksha, it illustrates the relationship between human body and Vedanga. That's why, limbs of Vedanga. The importance of this Vedanga by comparing, different Veda into limbs of the human body. If you Chandasu related to in human body, leg, Kalpa related to hand, Jyotisha related to our eyes, Nirukta related to our ear, Shiksha related to our nose, Vakarna related to our face. That's why the Panini, he has illustrated different parts of our body with this Vedanga. How our body together it will work to reach any sense, any get knowledge, anything. That's why Vedas are Purusha. The Jyotisha Vedanga are the eyes of the Purusha, while the Nirukta are his ears. Shiksha is equivalent to the eyes of the Purusha. Vakarna is his face. As Panini, Shiksha or Maharishi Panini, symbolically he has compared with different parts of our human body. This kind of symbology of limbs for Vedanga is meant to point out the interdependence and integrity or oneness of this discipline with each other and with Vedas as a whole. It is together, like integrity, the coordination between all these things. We can reach to the whole world, or we can reach to understand the Veda. That's why the need of these different Vedanga or discipline came up when the Vedas written down or documented in earlier time. Documentation was not needed as it was a part of their nitya karma, daily routine duty, nitya karma. That's why they not documentized it. But our lifestyle has been changed right now. But we need to take care of that. No. What we are practicing daily, we are not least bothered about morning when to awaken. We are not written, but we are daily practicing. After immediately awakening, what we will do? No need to read anything to perform. That is the nitya karma, daily routine work we will do. Now, that's why later this kind of circumstances, it needs to study the Vedic literature, what they did, how to recite the Veda. That's why the scholarly rishis, they developed this kind of limbs of Veda. That, we are calling Vedanga. Similarly, Smriti, these Smritis means remembered, what we discussed in the previous. There are 18 main Smritis or Dharma Shastra. The most important are the Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, and Parasara Smriti. Other 15 are Vishnu Smriti, Daksha Smriti, Samavarta Smriti, Vyasa Smriti, Harita Smriti, Satapatha, Vasishta, Yama, Apastamba, Gautama, Devala, Sankalikita, Usana, Atri, and Saunaka. These are the different Smriti we remembered. As that is Saunaka and Angiras, we discussed Saunaka, that is Smriti, remember that. These Smritis are secondary scriptures. Next in importance to the Shruti. Shruti means what is heard. Smriti means what is remembered. The former is a revelation and later is the tradition. That is Shruti and Smriti. The Shruti is direct experience by the great rishis. The Smritis are recollection of that experiences by other scholars. Upanishadu is Smriti, Bhagavad Gita is Smriti. Based on different Upanishadu, Bhagavad Gita has written by and revealed to the world or Lord Krishna to the Arjuna. Smritis or Dharma Shastras are written by different sages, rishis, seers of ancient. Shruti is considered as the final authority than the Smriti. If there is anything in the Smriti that contradicts the Shruti, then Smriti is rejected. Smritis are ancient sacred law codes of Indians, that is Hindu. They supplement and explain the ritualistic practices called Vidhi in the Veda. Smritis are based on the teaching of Vedas. Like this Smriti, Shruti, we will study with respect to different 18 Smriti. If you look into the Itihasa, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Harimamsa, Yoga Vasishta, these are the histories. Similarly, we are having different Puranas. It is also same class as Itihasa, like Ramayana and Mahabharata. There are 18 main Purana, not only 18, n number of Puranas are we are having. 18 main Purana, like Vishnu Purana, Naradiya Purana, Srimad Bhagavad Purana, Garuda Purana, Padma Purana, Varaha Purana, Brahma Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Markandeya Purana, Bhavishya Purana, Vamana Purana, Matsya Purana, Kurma Purana, Linga Purana, Shiva Purana, Skanda Purana, Agni Purana. These are the 18 main Purana. Similarly, 18 Upa Puranas are also there. Now, all these 18 main Purana and Upa Purana written by Veda Vyasa. There are different types of local Puranas are also there. Different types of local Purana. If you look into the locality of our countries, the sages are gurus who lived in the past from recent to a century back, million back. If we considered the teachings of Sri Siddheshwara Swamiji, that's also, it is not a Purana, but it is the realities. Later, after thousands years later, that will become Purana. Na? That's why the Srimad Bhagavad Gita Purana, Vishnu Purana, these are the well-versed Purana. Similarly, we are having local Purana. Right now, I am sitting in Gulbarga. If you look into the Gulbarga region, some Puranas are also there. Here, Gulbarga Sri Shavan Bashveshwara Purana. Like that, different kinds of Puranas are also there. During Shravana Masa, we are listening, or I mean, the peoples of villages, they are listening. Similarly, the divine Leelas of Lord Shiva are recorded in Tamilu Purana like Shaiva Purana. Similarly, Periya Purana, that is Shiva Parakramam. The language of Veda is difficult to grasp or understand or assimilate or interpret or translate or extrapolate to use in our life. These Puranas present philosophical truth and precious teaching in an easier manner for common people. It is not mandatory. It is a prescription. Prescription. It is left to us to accept or to reject or to practice or not to practice. Similarly, agamas are there. Here, the theological treatises are practical manuals of divine worship. It includes Tantra, Mantra, and Yantra. Tantra, Mantra, and Yantra. It explains external worship of God in idol, in temple, etc. All the agama treat of one is jnana or knowledge. Second is yoga or concentration. Third is kriya or esoteric ritual. Fourth is charya or worship. All these also give details on temple building, image making, etc. These agamas are divided into three sections. One is Vaishnava, Shaiva, and Shakta. These agamas are divided into three parts, that is Vaishnava, Shaiva, and Shakta. The Vaishnava are Pancha Ratra agamas, glorify God as Mahavishnu. The Vaishnava agama glorify God as Mahavishnu. The Shaiva agama glorify God as Mahashiva. Mahavishnu, Mahashiva. That Vaishnava, they are telling Mahashiva, Mahavishnu. The Shaiva, they are telling, glorifying the God as Mahashiva. The Shakta Agama or the Tantras glorify God as the Mother of Nature. Mother of Nature. That is Devi. Durga Devi, like different Devi. That is Shakta Agama. The Agamas do not derive their authority from the Veda, but Vedas are not antagonistic to these. They are all Vedic in spirit and character. For this reason, they are considered as authoritative. This, if you look into the Vaishnava, Shaiva, and Shakta, even different. If you look into the my slide, it will be there. I hope you are watching my slide here. Vaishnava Agama, Shaiva Agama, and Shakta Agama. What it includes. Similarly, Shad Darshana. Here, Shad Darshana means six Darshana, six schools of philosophy. Nyaya, Vaishashika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. Here, Nyaya written by Gautama. We are calling this orthodox, system. Six the Shad Darshanas also. They are believing in Veda. This Nyaya as written by Gautama. This is the logic and epistemology. Logic and epistemology. Similarly, Vaishashika, it has written by Kanada Rushi, that molecule he has invented, Kanada Rishi. But right now we are giving that patent to our copyright to some Western scientist. But Kanada Rishi, the name itself, Kana, he has investigated or invented the molecule. That is Kanada Rishi we are calling. Vaishashika, atomism or categorization. Another is Sankhya. This is dualism. It has written by Kapila Muni. Dualism or cosmology. Similarly, yoga, as we are well versed with this, Patanjali Maharshi related to physical, mental, and spiritual practices. Physical, mental, and spiritual practices. That is Patanjali. Similarly, Mimamsa is there, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa written by Jaimini Rishi and Uttara Mimamsa written by Veda Vyasa. These are the both the Mimamsa are hermeneutics and Vedic interpretations. This Purva Mimamsa focuses on Vedic ritual actions and the earlier part of the Veda. The Uttara Mimamsa, it talks about Vedanta or explores the nature of reality, that is Brahma and the Upanishad. One more is there, Vedanta, we are calling Vedanta, Uttara Mimamsa under that philosophy of the Upanishad and Brahman. If you look into this Shaddarshana, what is the significance of this Shaddarshana? Preservance of Vedic tradition. These Shaddarshana schools emphasize the importance of Vedic knowledge and its traditions. It is having its own diverse perspective. Each school offers unique insights and perspective on reality, knowledge, and existence related to Nyaya, Vaishashika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, and Vedanta. These influences on Hindu thought, Hinduism, or Indians. These Shaddarshana shape the Hindu philosophy or spirituality or cultural practices in India in the ancient period. That's why we are calling rich intellectual heritage, this Shaddarshana. These schools contribute to India's rich intellectual and philosophical heritage. These 6 schools of philosophy, that is Shaddarshana, or Astika schools, continue to inspire philosophical inquiry and spiritual growth and cultural development in India. And we need to reach beyond that. We need to influence Westerns also. That's why the details is there. We need to get aware of this. These are the things having a huge treasure of knowledge. Now, forever, these are the, applicable to us. Yeah, similarly, kalas. Here we are having different 64 forms of kala. If you look into our ancient, universities, Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramashila, Ujjaini, one university is a kind of specialization. They taught all those 64 forms of arts, specialization, super specialization, bachelor's, master's, specialized. They attracted almost all the Western countries scholars to learn in our countries in that period. Some has destroyed in between that, and they burnt the literature of those, universities. That huge amount of documentized literature has been destroyed by the some, uh, emperor of against war, that Hindus. Okay, we need to realize, but the things which is there in our blood, which is there in our, genes, but no one can burn that. It will comes from generations to generations. We need to realize and documentize, re-documentize it. Similarly, secular head. Here, Subhashita, Kavya, Nataka, and Alankara. These are the recent Subhashita it refers to wise saying, instructions or stories in prose or poetry or drama form. If you look into the notable Subhashitas are Bharatiya Bharti Hari Subhashita, Somadeva Bhatta Katha Sarita Sagara, Kshaimendra Brahat Katha Manjari, Panchatantra, and Hitopadesha. These are the Subhashita. Similarly, Kavyas refers to highly scholarly composition in poetic forms, prose and poetry both. Notable the poetical kavyas are Kalidasa, Raghuvamsha, and Kumara Sambhava, Bhargavi, there is Maga Shishupala Vadha, Sri Harsha Naishada. Among these notable proses, Bhattadhana Kadambari. Similarly, notable among those containing both poetry and prose is the Champu Ramayana is there. Like these kavyas are there, Nataka, under Natakas also in, different types of moods. We are calling rasa, Sringara, different types of rasa. There are 9 different rasas. We are aware of that. Sringara rasa, Veera rasa, Karuna rasa, Adbhuta, Hasha, Bhayanaka, Bebhatsa, Rudra, and Shanti. These rasa, among these, the Shanti rasa is not portrayed in Natakas, but rest of the 8 portrayed. If you look into the Gautam Buddha, that Shanti rasa, it is there. Well-known Natakas are Kalidasa Shakuntala. Kalidasa written Shakuntala. Even Bhavabhuti Uttara Rama. Like this, we are having different Natakas, especially in the ancient period. Similarly, Alankaras related to the 4 secular head. Similarly, we are heterodox, Nastika. Similarly, 6, as I presented here. I hope you are listening my presentation. In Darshana, 6 heterodox system. That is Nastika. They are not believing in the Vedas. Those are calling heterodox. Here, Charvaka, Jaina, Buddha, Ajaivika, Lokayatha, and other schools. They are not believing in Veda. They reject Vedic authority. They will offer alternative philosophical perspective. They emphasize individual inquiry and critical thinking. They explore diverse views on reality, knowledge, and existence. That's why those are the Charvaka. They are materialistic. Jaina philosophy emphasizes non-violence and karma. We are calling Svetambara and Digambara. That is Svetambara is the Jain school with its own scriptures and interpretation. Similarly, Digambara, it's also having how to liberate from this body, Digambara. That's why they are not giving the importance to the outer world. They are giving importance to the inner world. That's why they are in Digambara. We are calling liberation, self-actualization. Buddhism, teaching of the Buddha on suffering and liberation. Even under that, we are studying Sutrantika, Vaibhashika, Yogachara, Madhyamika. Under this Buddhism, Sutrantika, it is a school under Buddhism or Buddhistic school. It emphasizes the teaching of the Buddha Sutra. Vaibhashika, it's also school focusing on Sarvishtavadha Abhidharma. Yogachara, it's also school. It emphasizing on consciousness and mind only philosophy. Madhyamika. This is also Buddhistic school. It has, sorry, it has founded by Nagarjuna. It emphasizes the emptiness and the middle way, like a Madhyamika. That's why they under this Buddha, but they are not believing in the Vedic literature or Vedic scriptures, but reality, heterodox, secular, we are called. Another is Nyaya. If you look into the vocabulary of Indian knowledge system, how to understand the Vedic scriptures, to who is the eligible for that. That's why Anubandha Chatushtaya we are calling Anubandha Chatushtaya. Literally means four connections in our body. That's why fourfold in nature. That is Adhikari, Vishaya, Prayojana, and Sambandha. Adhikari, the qualified student who is able to understand this kind of Vedic literature or different this Ashtadasa Vidyasthana, who is having or has developed single pointed mind, I mean ekagrata, who is having purity of mind, I mean chitta shuddhi, who is free from restlessness or impurity, that is vikship. The person leads to adhikari. He is having that aptitude, adhikara. This is the basic characteristics of the learner. The qualified student, adhikari means the qualified student. Student means here who is able to ready to learn the ancient script or ancient knowledge or Indian knowledge system, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, who is having that ekagrata, chitta shuddhi, vikship, the person will become adhikara. This is the basic character. Another is Vishaya, that is subject matter. That is theme pertaining to the Jiva Brahmana identity. How we are realizing and practicing and preaching and living. That is the Vishaya, as I am giving frequently referring to Siddheshwara Swamiji. How they led their life pertaining to Jiva Brahmana identity. They are not stick to any kind of material. Only they practiced, teach, learning, teaching, simply living, not attachment to anything, not holding any kind of material, no vehicle, no land, no building, only, mindfulness, only mindfulness. Then the prayojana, palasruti of that vishaya, that result or fruit, which is Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti, that is calling complete cessation of sorrow. That leads to Paramananda Prapti, attainment of supreme happiness. That's why who is having that ability, Adhikari, based on the knowledge, Vishaya, then what is the Prayojana, Palasruti? They will attain the Paramananda Prapti, attainment of supreme happiness. Paramananda Prapti. They are complete recession of sorrow. Never think they will accept. In psychology, we are calling sthita prajna. When the happiness comes, they will not feel happy. When the sorrow comes, they will not feel sorrow. Always they are accepting everything equally. That is the part of life. Both will come and go. Happiness is not permanent. Sorrow is also not permanent. Now, that's why that leads to the Paramananda Prapti, attainment of supreme happiness in one's life. But right now, we in the present era, we are almost materialistic. Almost we are materialistic. Are you agreeing or not? Dear participants. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
I agree.
Now, almost all we are materialistic. Even as we, the teachers, whether it is government, private, or grant in aid, even sannyasis, uh, swamisis, they are also materialistic. But the person must be, like no attachment to any materialistic world. That is the characteristics of adhikari. If qualified student, he will get a prayojana in life. I mean, the word will remember how we are quoting here several seers, rishis names here, authors here. Similarly, after thousands of years later, the person's name will come. So only among the millions, one or two will comes like that. We are naming and remembering, but rest we are not remembering. As we know that we know our father name, we know our grandfather name. What about our grand grandfather name? What about our grand grand grandfather name and grand grand grandmother name? No, we don't know. If you go back to that, we don't know. But some names we remember in the history due to their contributions to the world in terms of knowledge, in terms of their services, selflessness, that is nishkama karma. That kind of prayojana is there. Now, if you look into the sambandha between adhikari, vishaya, prayojana, who are leading the life nishkama karma, they are not bothering about the fruits of results of their actions or duty. They are doing their duty. Now, definitely that kind of things we need. We are calling anubandha chatushtaya. We need to develop this kind of anubandha chatushtaya ourselves as well as in our learners also through our text. Similarly, antakarana chatushtaya. Here also four inner sense, antar indriya. These are enable or guide us to our psychic and mental processes. Through them, we can feel, think, understand, and differentiate. Those are the antakarana. We need to make connections between these four. Manassu or mana, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara. Mind, intellect, consciousness, and ego. But these all are going in different directions. But we need to make connections between these four inner senses. Definitely, we will reach what we want to be. Not in terms of earning materialistic, to reach greater heights in terms of knowledge, in terms of realization that leads to like a sheer saint rishis, like they can achieve anything. And that's why antakarana chatushtaya. One is anubandha chatushtaya, another is antakarana chatushtaya. Suppose if we wish to learn and practice and promote the Ashtadasa Vidyasthana, the persons need to have this Anubandha Chatushtaya and Antakarana Chatushtaya. Similarly, if you look, we the Purusha Prakriti, Sattva, Rajasa, Tamasa, our Manasu is there, Jnanendriya is there, Karmendriya is there, Sattva. That is eyes, nose, ears, skin, tongue, mouth, hands, feet, excretory organ, and reproductive organ. How to make, Purusha and Prakriti, even Tamasa, Mahabhuta, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi. It is our body is made up of all these things. How the knowledge, knowable things, pramana and pramaya. Pramana means valid knowledge. We are accepting, justified true belief. Pramaya, object of valid knowledge. Dravya, adravya. Under dravya, jada, ajada. Prakriti and khala. Prakriti, jada, achitta. Under jada, prakriti, which is visible. Kala, which is not visible. Even Kala, whether it is past, present, and future. Jada. Ajada, Paraka, Pratyaka. Like this, we are not, how we are validating the knowledge from time to time. I hope if you, the flow chart, this flow chart I am presenting before you, you revisit this. These are the different branches of knowledge under this Ashtadasa Vidyasthana. We need to know these things at least to sensitize. This is the vast array of knowledge, huge amount of knowledge, just to wash under ocean of knowledge. Just we are tapping a drop of water. Like that, the ocean of knowledge is there, but we are, just touching drop of water. We are keeping the drop, handful knowledge in our hands. Like ocean of water, we are picking up a handful of water based on our ability of hand. Now we need to gain the knowledge. Now these are the different forms of validating the knowledge. Pramana, how to validate this one. Then how to analyze perceptions also there. Even anumana, something is right or something is wrong, we are talking about. It is coming under the Nyaya Darshana. Nyaya is one of the six orthodox school. It talks about logic and epistemology, principles of reasoning and argumentation. Based on that, we are accepting and making inference. Even epistemology, the study of knowledge, what is its sources, how to validate it, how to make inferences. That's why this pramana, means of knowledge, perception, inference, and testimony. Even tarka is there, logical reasoning and debate. Vada, philosophical discussion and argumentation. Vada, vitanda, jalpa, vivada, samvada. Yes, we discussed in the last session. The significance of this Nyaya, it develops critical thinking and logical reasoning. It provides a framework for evaluating knowledge claims. Definitely, this Nyaya influences Indian philosophy, Indian science, and intellectual inquiry. Even this Nyaya remains relevant in contemporary debate on logic and epistemology. That's why the Nyaya, it emphasizes on rigorous reasoning and evidence-based inquiry. It has it had a lasting impact on Indian philosophy even beyond that. Similarly, if you look into the verbal testimony, Shabda, recognized as special source of knowledge, we are documenting it. Even Brahma, illusion, not visible. Theory of error, Atma Khyati, Asatha Khyati, A Khyati, Anyatha Khyati, Anirvachaniya Khyati, that is Atma Khyati, self apprehension. Yogachara, school, it explains the Brahma as the substituting in the Atman, like Asatha Khyati, non being apprehension, Akhyati, non apprehension, Anyatha Khyati, misapprehension, Anirvachaniya Khyati, indefinable apprehension. With these are the different Indian knowledge system. And with that, we are having four Upavedas also. Those are Ayurveda, traditional Indian medicine and healthcare. Dhanurveda, that martial art or archery or warfare of in the ancient period. Right now, the digital world or artificial world, digital world right now, digital war. I mean, technological war, weapons with different kinds of nuclear wars with remote control or by what we are flying that what we are calling those mm, during this India and Pakistan war they used drones that kind of in the earlier period Dhanurvidya martial art, but right now we are making technological war. even Gandharva Veda, that is music, dance, and performing art. Then Sthapatya, right now also we are having Gandharva Veda and Sthapatya Veda, architecture, engineering, and construction. We have the importance these four Upavedas also. If you look into the contribution of all these various, even every Veda, every Upanishadu, every these different forms of Ashtadasa, their own contributions. If you dig the knowledge, we have huge amount of new knowledge is hidden in that. But we need to revisit whether it is Veda or Vedanga, or if any Itihasa or any Purana or any Dharma Shastra, Darshana or Nyaya or four Upavedas, we have huge amount of treasured knowledge. That is the reservoir of knowledge. But untapped, untouched areas are also there. But we need to take care of this to bring into our curriculum. To bring into our curriculum. As UGC has brought out some guidelines for incorporating Indian knowledge system in our curriculum also. I hope you will visit this one, you will get the idea. For undergraduate program and postgraduate program, they brought out certain guidelines for to bring the Indian knowledge system in our curriculum. Not directly teaching, what are the things which we are going to teach with respect to knowledge or with respect to a skill or with respect to wisdom. We need to make where is the source or where is the root for that knowledge, where is the root for that skill, where is the root for that wisdom, for that attitude, for those values. We need to identify to give the to identify that root. The root is in our Indian knowledge system. Like this, the document is there. You visit this document. Otherwise, I will share with the organizer. They will in turn share with you also. Might be they shared with you or any other resource persons are going to share with you. With this, I would like to conclude my this Ashtadasa Vidyasthana session. If you have any queries or doubt, just you can ask. What I am understanding, I will present before you. This is the ocean of knowledge. Just I picked a hand, but ocean of knowledge is there.